Ladies and gentlemen, picture this: sweat on your brow, trembling hands, a heart pounding like war drums in your chest. Fear isn't just a feeling, it's a cage. And right now, it's locking you out of the life you were born to lead. But what if I told you that fear isn't your enemy? It's the fire that forges legends. Denzel Washington didn't climb from the projects to Hollywood royalty by playing it safe. He stared down doubt, wrestled failure, and turned terror into fuel. This isn't about avoiding fear. It's about weaponizing it. You want power? You want purpose? Then stop running. Stand. Fight. Because on the other side of that fear, that's where your greatness is waiting. And it's pissed off you're late. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get something straight. Fear doesn't knock politely. It kicks down your door, steals your dreams, and leaves you choking on what ifs. But here's the raw truth. You weren't built to cower. You were built to conquer. Denzel Washington didn't win Oscars by whispering. He leaned into the storm and roared. So let me ask you, what's your excuse? You think courage is for the lucky, for the chosen? Wrong. Courage is a choice. It's the grit to step into the arena when your knees are shaking. It's the defiance to laugh in fear's face and say, "Is that all you got?" Tonight, we're not talking about motivation. We're talking about metamorphosis. Denzel's guide isn't a pep talk, it's a war manual. You'll learn how to turn panic into power, how to rewrite fear's script, and why playing it safe is the riskiest bet you'll ever make. This is about clawing your way out of the prison of "I can't" and seizing the throne of "watch me." So, you ready to stop surviving and start thriving? Or are you content to let fear write your obituary? The mic's yours. What's it gonna be? Let's begin. Fear is a compass. Walk straight into it. Let's break that down. Fear isn't some random emotion that shows up to ruin your day. It's a signal, a flashing neon sign pointing you toward the exact thing you need to confront. Think about it. When you feel that knot in your stomach, that voice in your head screaming, "What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough?" That's not weakness. That's your soul telling you, this matters. This is where you grow. Denzel Washington didn't become one of the greatest actors of our time by avoiding the roles that scared him. He leaned into them, knowing that discomfort is the price of greatness. Fear is a liar. It whispers that you're not ready, that you're not enough, that the world will laugh at you. But here's the truth. Fear only has power if you let it. The moment you step toward it, you strip it of its control. It's like standing at the edge of a cliff. Your instincts scream, "Step back." But what if instead of retreating, you take one step closer? What if you stare into the abyss and realize it's not as deep as you thought? That's where courage lives. Not in the absence of fear, but in the decision to move forward despite it. Every time you face fear, you rewrite the story of who you are. You stop being the person who runs and start being the person who fights. And let me tell you something. Fear doesn't like fighters. It thrives on hesitation, on doubt, on the moments you second guess yourself. But when you walk straight into it, when you meet it head on, it shrinks, it loses its grip, and suddenly you realize something profound. The thing you were so afraid of, it was never the enemy. It was the doorway, the path, the beginning of everything you were meant to become. Pressure isn't punishment, it's privilege. Let that sink in for a moment. When you feel the weight of expectations, the heat of a high-stakes moment, or the burden of responsibility, it's easy to crumble under the strain. But what if I told you that pressure is a gift? It's the universe's way of saying, "You're ready for this." Think about it. Diamonds aren't formed in comfort, they're created under immense pressure. And so are you. Denzel Washington didn't rise to the top by coasting through life. He thrived under pressure because he understood that it's not a curse, it's a crucible. It's where ordinary people transform into legends. Pressure forces you to dig deeper than you ever thought possible. It strips away the excuses, the distractions, and the half-hearted efforts. It demands your best, and in doing so, it reveals your best. When you're under pressure, you discover strengths you didn't know you had. You find resilience, creativity, and a level of focus that can only be unlocked when the stakes are high. That's why the greatest athletes, artists, and leaders embrace pressure. They don't run from it. They lean into it. They know that pressure is the forge where greatness is shaped. But here's the thing, pressure doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care about your background, your resources, or your past failures. It shows up for everyone. The difference between those who succeed and those who falter isn't talent or luck, it's mindset. Do you see pressure as a threat, or do you see it as an opportunity? Do you let it paralyze you, or do you let it propel you? When you shift your perspective, when you start to see pressure as a privilege, everything changes. You stop dreading the challenge and start embracing it. You realize that pressure isn't something to survive, it's something to savor. It's the fire that refines you, the test that proves you, and the stage that showcases you. Failure isn't fatal, it's your fiercest teacher. Let's get one thing straight. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you. Every misstep, every setback, every time you fall flat on your face, you're not losing, you're learning. Denzel Washington didn't become an icon by avoiding failure, he embraced it. He understood that failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the journey. Think about it. When a baby learns to walk, it doesn't get it right the first time. It stumbles, it falls, it cries, but it keeps trying. And one day, it walks. That's the power of failure. It's not the end, it's the beginning of growth. Failure strips away the illusions. It shows you what works and what doesn't. It forces you to confront your weaknesses, to question your methods, and to adapt. When you fail, you're forced to get creative, to think outside the box, to find new solutions. That's why some of the most successful people in history have failed spectacularly. They didn't let failure break them, they let it build them. They took the lessons, applied them, and came back stronger. But here's the catch. Failure only works if you let it. If you wallow in self-pity, if you let shame and regret consume you, then yes, failure will feel fatal. But if you approach it with curiosity, with humility, with a willingness to learn, it becomes your greatest ally. It teaches you resilience, patience, and grit. It shows you what you're made of. And when you finally succeed, you'll look back and realize that every failure was a stepping stone, a necessary part of the process. Failure also humbles you. It reminds you that you're human, that you're not invincible, and that there's always room for improvement. It keeps you grounded, hungry, and focused. So the next time you fail, don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Sit with it. Study it. Let it teach you. Because the lessons you learn from failure are the ones that will propel you to heights you never thought possible. Playing it safe is the riskiest lie you'll ever tell. Think about it. When you choose comfort over courage, when you settle for good enough instead of chasing greatness, you're not avoiding risk, you're inviting it. You're risking regret, stagnation, and the slow erosion of your potential. Denzel Washington didn't build a legendary career by staying in his comfort zone. He took risks, bold, audacious, sometimes terrifying risks. He knew that playing it safe might protect you from failure, but it also shields you from success. Let's be honest, a life without risk is a life without reward. When you play it safe, you trade your dreams for security. You convince yourself that it's better to stay small, to avoid rocking the boat, to keep your head down. But deep down, you know the truth. Safety is an illusion. The world is unpredictable, and no amount of caution can shield you from its uncertainties. So why not take control? Why not choose the risks that matter, the ones that align with your purpose and your passion? When you take calculated risks, you're not being reckless, you're being intentional. You're saying, I believe in myself enough to bet on my future. Playing it safe also robs you of growth. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens on the edge. In the moments when you're stretched, challenged, and pushed beyond your limits. When you take risks, you discover what you're truly capable of. You learn to adapt, to innovate, to persevere. You build resilience and confidence, and you develop a mindset that sees opportunity where others see obstacles. But perhaps the biggest risk of playing it safe is the toll it takes on your spirit. When you ignore your dreams, when you silence that voice inside you that says, you were meant for more, you're betraying yourself. You're choosing a life of what ifs over a life of what is. And that's a risk too great to take. So stop hiding. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. All you have is now and the courage to act. Embrace the suck. The grind is the glory. Let's be real. Nothing worth having comes easy. The path to greatness isn't paved with shortcuts or quick wins. It's littered with sweat, sacrifice, and sleepless nights. Denzel Washington didn't wake up one day as a Hollywood legend. He put in the work, day after day, year after year. Even when it was hard, even when it hurt, he understood that the grind isn't the enemy, it's the essence of success. It's where dreams are forged, where character is built, and where ordinary people become extraordinary. The grind is messy. It's waking up early when you'd rather hit snooze. It's pushing through fatigue when your body begs you to quit. It's showing up even when no one's watching, even when the results aren't immediate. But here's the thing. The grind is also where the magic happens. It's where you develop discipline, resilience, and an unshakable work ethic. It's where you learn to trust yourself, to rely on your own effort, and to take pride in the process. The grind doesn't just build skills, it builds character. And let's not sugarcoat it. The grind sucks sometimes. It's exhausting, frustrating, and often thankless. But that's the point. If it were easy, everyone would do it. The fact that it's hard is what makes it valuable. When you embrace the suck, when you lean into the discomfort and keep going anyway, you separate yourself from the crowd. You prove to yourself and to the world that you're willing to do what others won't. The grind also teaches you patience. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, the grind reminds you that real success takes time. It's not about overnight wins or viral moments. It's about consistent effort, day in and day out. It's about trusting the process, even when the results aren't visible yet. And when you finally break through, when you achieve what you've been working for, you'll look back and realize that the grind wasn't the obstacle, it was the foundation. It was the thing that made your success possible and the thing that made it meaningful. Your choices, not your chains, define your legacy. Let's break that down. Life will throw obstacles in your path. Circumstances you didn't choose, challenges you didn't ask for, and limitations that feel impossible to overcome. But here's the truth. Your past doesn't own you. Your struggles don't define you. What defines you is how you respond. Denzel Washington didn't let his humble beginnings or the odds stacked against him dictate his future. He made choices. Bold, deliberate, and often difficult choices that shaped his destiny. And you have that same power. It's your compass. Pressure isn't punishment, it's your privilege. Failure isn't fatal, it's your fiercest teacher. Playing it safe, that's the riskiest lie you'll ever tell. The grind, it's not the obstacle, it's the glory. And your choices, they're the bricks that build your legacy.